oppose the expansion of the Monarch landfill, also known as Mount Trashmore, and I have spoken out against it at the Broward Commission meetings. I would oppose and vote against any increase in our millage rate. Regarding security, I am concerned about identity theft and cyber scams, especially against our seniors, which happens frequently. I'm for the preservation of our world-class beach. It's like the crown jewel of Deerfield Beach, and it needs to be protected and enhanced, and I would drive for that. Dixie Highway is ready for development, and I have not accepted any outside money. I'm totally self-funded.
Thank you. Candidate Bradley Shanetsky, your self-introduction, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Shanetsky, and my motto is, Daniel gets it done. I moved to Deerfield Beach almost a quarter of a century ago to take care of my ailing mother, and I fell in love with Deerfield Beach, and I decided to stay and make this my permanent home. 4 years ago, I decided to give back to the city and my community, which has given me so much. In the 4 years since then, I've been to almost every single Deerfield Beach City Commission meeting. I've gotten involved in issues, and I've given my feedback and my opinion. I was vice chairman of the Deerfield Beach Cultural Committee. I was chosen to do that, and as vice chairman, I initiated and I brought concerts in cooperation with Broward College to Deerfield Beach Parks. I'm very proud of that. I also initiated a Brazilian concert to give to parks in Deerfield Beach. Presently, I'm a member of the Deerfield Beach Planning and Zoning Committee. I'm one of the representatives for my district, District 3, and I voted, and I'm very proud that we're bringing pre-K to Military Road right by St. Mary's Church, and I also voted, and I'm very proud, brought Holy Cross Emergency Room Annex on US 1. Those are two projects that I voted and participated in. Presently, with Century Village, I helped to initiate a veterans mental health counseling, brought it to Century Village. I also worked to bring long-term senior citizen rent exemption to Deerfield Beach, and that ordinance was brought before the commission and voted on and passed. I also brought, with Century Village, a buyers group, one of the participants, which brought discounts to all the condo owners in Century Village. So again, I walk the walk. Daniel gets it done, and I'll continue that as Commissioner of District 3.
Thank you, Candidate Shanetsky. Candidate Shelley?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Karen Shelley, and I am a very long-time resident of Broward County. I came to South Florida as a teen, graduated from Pompano High, have two sons and three grandchildren, but one of my granddaughters attended school here in Deerfield. In 2019, I moved to Century Village. I'm a condo manager, and I was a burned out condo manager, so in 2018, I worked one season at Century Village, and I found myself handing pickleball rackets to 90-year-old men. And I thought, I want to be that. I want to be 90 years old and play pickleball. So after working there for 2 seasons, I ended up purchasing a condo there. I rented first in 2019 and purchased my condo in 2020. I bought the pickleball outfit. I was so excited. And I discovered pickleball is not for me. And so I started getting involved in the community outside the walls of Century Village. Of course, we had COVID, and it was a time for introspection for everybody in the world. And I got involved in the city. My background is state government. I work for the Florida legislature. I've served as the executive assistant to the Florida Department of Revenue. I've served as the legal assistant to the head of the legal division of the Florida Department of Insurance. Now it's called the Department of Office of Insurance Regulation, or the Office of Insurance Regulation. So I have a strong foundation in government and the way it works. I also worked for a nonprofit. I was asked to take part in a grant writing proposal for the Broward County Commission on Alcoholism. And when I went there, I realized they didn't have a plan, and they were ready to shut their doors after 30 years in Broward County. So at that meeting, I was offered the position of executive director. I wasn't applying for it, but the executive director resigned. I looked, there was a motion, I became the director. So I have a broad background in government, nonprofit, and my time is up, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Shelley. Now we're going to move on to District 4, starting with candidate Chapman. Your self-introduction, please.
Hi, my name is John C. Chapman. Is this on? Okay. Hold it closer. I don't like microphones. I was born in '49 in Washington, D.C. to a military family and into the Episcopal Church. I was taught from being a little kid to respect everybody. I ended up finding myself underwater. I love being underwater. I started out in underwater construction. I've repaired hydroelectric dams, nuclear power plants, paper mills, you name it. Went over to the University of South Carolina, opened my own business, and started teaching diving for the University of South Carolina. Did that for 6 years, and in that time, I worked with a group called PADI, and we changed the way everybody learns to dive, which was really an exciting thing to do. I ended up in California working for a multinational company with offices in Shanghai and Taiwan, designing, developing, testing diving equipment. I did a bunch of project management. We were making products for the general public. We made products for commercial divers. We made products for the military, and that was probably the greatest honor I had, was working with our SEAL teams. We saw California going down the tubes, and my wife and I fulfilled our plan of returning to Florida and came to Deerfield Beach. And I just complained a lot. I see solutions, and I saw our HOA was just not working right. And I walked into one meeting one day, and the president said, "Hey, come over here," and he handed me the gavel, and he said, "You're now the president." That year, the HOA was bankrupt. 2 years later, I had $200,000 in the bank. And that's really it. I have had a lot of fun fixing things throughout my life, and when I look at the government in Deerfield Beach, I think there's some things that I can fix. Thank you.
Thank you very much, candidate Chapman. Candidate Platt, your self-introduction, please.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Tom Plout. I'm a very long-term resident of Deerfield Beach. My wife Dottie, who serves on the education board, is here tonight. We got married at Trade Winds Park about 42 years ago, and we moved into the gates of Hillsborough. We're still in that house. A lot of people say, "What are you doing in that house for so long?" Well, what's your property bill? Okay. So the whole 42 years that I was in that house, I served for 28 years on the Gates of Hillsborough Property Association, most of the time as vice president, and I currently serve as the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board here in Deerfield Beach for the last 10 years. That's given me a unique opportunity to see how the city operates, the different departments. It's a real thrill. I was originally appointed in October of 2013, and I can honestly say I've never missed a single meeting. In my personal life, I had a financial agency. I'm a licensed agent, life and health. If you go to Broker Check and look up Thomas Allen Plout, you'll see I have a Series 6 and a 26. And it'll say that I've been a broker for 39 years. So I've sat across thousands of tables, doing the best that I could to get people out of debt, help them save money. I think that financial experience and those licenses that I still have, and I still have my appointments, will give me the financial expertise that I need to guide this city for the next 4 years. I also retired so that I could make a full-time commitment here as a commissioner. And as the race sits right now, I do have the full endorsement of the police, of the fire department, the teachers union, the Hispanic Get Out the Vote, as well as the Realtor Association of Broward, Palm Beach, and St. Lucie. So I'm excited about being a full-time commissioner.
Thank you, candidates. We're now going to move on to the general. That's okay. We're going to move on to the general questions, and as previously stated, you will have 1:30 or no.
Distrust, and I believe we can do a lot to open that up. We can expand this tent, and we can have other people that are in the community feel that they have a role to play in this government. My other would be infrastructure. You know, if you look about getting around here, we have the Southwest 10th, and we're going to go into that, I'm sure, connector project. So many projects undertaken or about to be started, and we need to prepare for them now. Century Village, since at least 2019, has been wanting to replace their front gate. That shouldn't be the biggest deal in the world, but somehow it is. I don't know where the disconnect is. I don't know. I don't want to point fingers, but to me that is one thing that I will immediately do, is try and open a dialogue between the village and the government so that we can get some of these projects going and address the needs of the residents in the village as well as outside the village. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Candidate Bradley, your response, please.
Top two priorities. Well, I would say my top priority would be to get the spending under control. It seems like we spend a lot of money on things, or more money than we should on certain things, and I would need to take a quick look at, not a quick look, a good look at everything, all the expenditures. Number two priority, I think, would be it also has to do with money, would be the pier. The pier is, the repair of the pier has been delayed greatly. It's about $500,000 over budget. There's problems there, so that needs to be looked at closely and resolved. That's it.
Thank you very much. Candidate Shinetsky, your response.
Thank you. Well, first of all, my two priorities. First is, if I'm elected, I want to make sure I bring back businesses to Deerfield Beach, because we need businesses. Deerfield Beach is in competition with other cities, Pompano Beach, Fort Lauderdale. We need to show why Deerfield Beach is unique, and to make sure that businesses come to Deerfield Beach, they'll invest in Deerfield Beach, they'll bring their products and services to Deerfield Beach, so that couples, families could come to Deerfield Beach. We're going into our next 100 years in Deerfield Beach. We need to revitalize Deerfield Beach. That's my one priority. My second priority, I was endorsed by the Broward Fire Union, the Broward Police Union, and also the Broward Teachers Union. And in speaking with them, they said, you know, you need to bring some sort of application, computer application, that citizens in Deerfield Beach, constituents, could go to this app and tell about any code violations immediately, tell about any infrastructure deficiencies immediately, and it'll go directly to the person that needs to fix it. So I'd work on that application. That's something that I'm going to work on.
Thank you. Moving on to District 4, Candidate Chapman, please, your response, please.
My first effort would be to understand the status of the air and the water around us. We have an asphalt plant that may or may not be emitting stuff. We're going to have the 10th Street connector that will definitely increase some pollution. We really need to find out what the baseline is. Where are we? And water. We have the Trashmore is leaching stuff into the aquifer. We need to make sure that that is going south and not coming north into the Deerfield Beach supplies. We have 3 water purification systems in the water plant. We're not allowed to go into the water plant. I've worked in these kind of environments. I would like to be able to go in and take a look at it and understand why I have a high total dissolved solids coming out of my spigot in my home and am forced to have my own private reverse osmosis system. We need clean water, we need clean air, we need a baseline, and we need to enforce that. The other is, I want to understand how we managed to make $211,000 for a lifeguard station. That's a house. You can build a 3-bedroom house for that amount of money. There are a number of projects that have gone way over. This center, I think, went over by $4 million. The pier was originally, offer was originally around $1 million. It's now $5.5 million. It should have taken about 3 months to fix it. I know piers, I know how to fix them. It's going to take 3 years. So why do we get into situations where we have, oh, stop.
Thank you. Thank you, Kenneth. Okay. Kenneth Pop.
Okay, there's a lot of issues here. I think the biggest priority for my district in District 4 is the 10th Street connector. I've been completely involved in that as your chairman for many years. I remember the first time I met Mr. Hudak, our District 1 commissioner, was at one of the MPO meetings when they hadn't even decided on a plan for that road. So that's going to be the biggest thing. The noise, the dust pollution, the traffic is going to be a nightmare. It's starting this summer. We got to be all over that. MPO is a Metropolitan Planning Organization. That's part of FDOT, part of the Department of Transportation. So that's the biggest headache in our area. I'm a big proponent of Vision Zero, which is a program that we have here that we want to make sure that we can get the streets safe enough that we have no deaths. So that's very important. Citywide, I'm very concerned about the S-turn and speaking about the beach area. We need to bring businesses in here. We need to give them incentives. Folks, if you don't want your taxes to go up, because the millage rate here has been the same for the last 8 years, and the only way that we're going to be able to keep that is to bring development, smart development, and to bring businesses in here to make up for that tax base, keep your taxes down.
Now, what he's trying to say,
Candidates?
gentrification in the city of
Okay,
Deerfield
we're gonna
Beach.
move on to question number 2. Experiences do you bring to this elected position that would make you a good commissioner? District 4 candidate, your response, please.
Okay. Oh, the first thing is that I have that 39-year career as a financial person, licensed by the state and by the federal government. I've sat across thousands of kitchen tables as a broker to lower people's costs, to help them pay their houses off early. Long-term planning is what the city needs. We're required to have a 5-year plan to follow the state every year. I've been planning for people's retirement on a 30-year plan. So my financial experience speaks for itself, and my civic commitment here, that I've been the chairman of this planning and zoning board here. I understand how the different departments work. I know the people personally. I'll be a full-time commissioner to be there. I don't have any other distractions in my life. My health is good. My wife and I have a great relationship. We raised our kids here. So I'm really excited about being the next commissioner. This didn't just happen overnight. I've planned this for many years. I just didn't want to run against some of the great leaders that we have right now. I kind of waited my time in a way. But I planned this, and I plan on doing a good job for everyone.
Thank you very much. Candidate Chapman, your response.
Life-critical project management. Almost everything we did in the company I worked for, somebody's life was going to depend on it. And project management allowed us to understand the scope and requirement and to achieve the scope and requirement to produce products that made people happy. And as a commissioner in Deerfield Beach, I'll bring the same focus to project management that I hope will allow me to lead us through projects that don't have cost overruns. Maybe bring it in under budget.
Thank you very much. Moving on to District 3 candidates, Bradley.
Well, I think we need leaders with common sense and logical thinking. And I believe that my manufacturing experience and experience as a tradesman, both as a machinist and as a construction worker, give me that. Give me the idea of what it's like to work with your hands to solve problems on the job. That will help me with common sense and logical thinking.
Microphone. You're not using the microphone.
No, hopefully you were able to hear me. We need leaders with expertise, I think, in building also. My construction experience, my degree, my contractor's license for the state of Florida gave me the knowledge and experience that I need to make educated decisions with regards to a very expensive building projects which go on in the city all the time. And thirdly, I think we need leaders who have a sense of humanity, empathy for the citizens and what they're going through. My background in working with special populations kind of trained me to understand somebody who is vulnerable and help them to get through their problems. So that is my third thing.
Thank you very much. Candidate Janeski.
Thank you. Well, like I mentioned, for the past 4 years, I've been to almost every single Deerfield Beach City Commission meeting. I've been to the meetings where they're till 1 or 2 in the morning. I haven't missed one of them. So I've learned a lot. And I've established relationships with all the commissioners, all the directors of the agencies. They know me because I sit in the same place and they've heard me speak. Like I said, I was vice chairman of the Deerfield Beach Cultural Committee, and I initiated and I brought Broward College Jazz Festival concerts to Deerfield Beach parks, and I worked with the city on that. I also initiated and brought Brazilian Day concert to Deerfield Beach parks, and I worked with the city on that. As a voting member of the Deerfield Beach Planning and Zoning Committee, I voted to bring pre-K childcare to Military Road, and also I voted to bring emergency room annex Holy Cross to US 1. So I worked with the commissioners and the city on that. I also worked with the mayor and the city commissioners, as well as Century Village, to bring mental health counseling to Deerfield Beach residents and also Century Village residents, and I'm very proud of that. So I've definitely interacted and worked and established relationships with Deerfield Beach. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Shell.
Thank you. I believe I would be the best candidate because of my leadership ability, because of my experience throughout the last 40 years in public sector, private sector, nonprofit sector. I've raised a family. In the last 20-something years since Mr. Shinetsky's been in the village, I have raised children, I've raised a granddaughter. I've been that parent to be the last one to pick your kid up when daycares, and I know that feeling. I've purchased a home, I've run a business, I've had a life, I've had a fully engaged life in this community. I'm currently serving as the vice chair of the Education Advisory Board. I was appointed by Commissioner Parness and subsequently reappointed. In that responsibility, I've learned so much about the schools and the children here, and it's such an opportunity the city has to further engage with the children and not say it's not our job when it comes to helping our students. I'm the treasurer of my condo board. As a condo manager, I know that condos operate much like government, where the members have a responsibility, and when they're working and doing their job, and the board is doing its job, and the manager is doing its job, the community hums. We can have that here in Deerfield Beach. We're small enough that we can have that small town feel with a positively embraced membership or the
Giving her time.
citizenry that will take part in government if they're allowed to do so. Thank you.
Landfill, and unfortunately it was passed. They're gonna zone it and make it industrial, which means they can make it bigger and they can expand it. But I was one of the last speakers. I knew today would be the deciding day, and I got up there and I made a strong statement saying, this is wrong, and to the commissioners, you're gonna leave a stained legacy of an increased garbage. You know, it's a garbage site that will stain the reputation of Broward County. So I actually put myself on record to be against it. In terms of alternatives, I'm definitely in favor of Broward Solid Waste Authority, which 26 out of the 31 Broward cities put money to make it a Broward Waste Authority, that they would come up with suggestions on what to do with the waste instead of expanding the landfill. I'm definitely in favor of composting. In fact, during public comments in Deerfield Beach City Commission, I got up there and I said I'm strongly in favor of this new pilot program with composting. I think it's a great thing, and I'm definitely in favor of initiatives to recycle and to do organic things to make sure that the trash in Deerfield Beach is taken care of instead of expanding the landfill. I'm on record of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Shell.
Thank you. Well, definitely I'm opposed to any expansion of the landfill, and very disappointed it has gotten this far without the public being enraged. I think we're kind of like the frogs that get put in the cold water and they turn the heat up and you slowly boil to death. You don't realize what's happening. So as far as recycling, I think that's been a charade for years. It's a feel-good thing. The education never followed what we needed to do to have a successful recycling program. So every time a pizza box would be put in that big bin, it would all go to the regular trash dump. So we can improve awareness. We need to get our kids on it, because remember the smoking, when the kids started getting down on their parents for smoking, we need to educate our youth and get them on this problem. And also it's corporate responsibility, because even if we recycled everything ideally, corporations currently are responsible for the most pollution and damage to our environment. Composting, I love it. And I've talked to people in Century Village, and I would love to, if we expand that grant program or have another opportunity to get a pilot program started in Century Village, because we have great gardening groups and all kinds of organizations that would embrace it and take part in it and make sure that it is successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Kenneth Bradley.
Well, there's really no good news about the way we remove trash. You know, we're doing it the same way today that they were doing 50 and 60 years ago, just stacking it into a big mountain and squishing it down. And now that's what they're going to continue to do, and that's, I didn't know that they had finished the zoning, so that means that the mountain's going to get 200 feet taller and wider. There's going to be much more pressure on the earth, on the aquifer. It's all bad news. I think the government has dropped the ball on this thing. They for a long time ago should have been educating the public and bringing the public together with these composting programs so that the entire citizenry can get the thing done, but they haven't. We're just putting a Band-Aid on it. In Sweden, they're going something over there, turning their trash into cash. I don't know how they're doing it, but we need to look into other alternate ways of doing things. Huge mountains or burning is just not the answer anymore. It's ancient technology. We need to do something different. I don't have the answer, but I don't think that we're being given the answer at this point in time either. So, new technology, citizen involvement, composting, okay, I don't know if it'll do it or not, but you know, we need something different than what we're doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you. We are on to District 4 candidates. Chapman.
I've got some radical thoughts on this. First of all, composting can make money. We ought to be doing it. It creates stuff for gardens.
Closer to your mouth.
Closer to my mouth? Okay. Composting makes money. It makes stuff for gardens. Landscaping is a huge business here, so there's a market for well-composted organic material. In terms of recycling, it needs to start cradle to grave. The manufacturers need to either be required to pay for it or design packaging that is easily recycled. Simple.
Right.
For everything else, oh, by the way, the diaper underneath Mount Trashmore is leaking. They need to fix that. They need to seal that up. There's a piece of land down south of us that would hold all of the trash that South Florida will produce for the next 50 years. We need that kind of a solution. We need to find something that's going to work while the population down here goes nuts. How are we going to deal with increasing trash, and it can't be build it bigger, build it taller. Develop a light rail system to get the trucks off the road, put the power plant down at this plot of land. I can give you the GPS coordinates for it. It was a bombing range during World War II. This is not Bambi's playhouse. It's a piece of land, six square miles, that could be used to house and process trash. It's waiting on us.
Thank you very much. Candidate Plow.
Okay, so Deerfield Beach's heart is in the right place when it comes to recycling. Everybody wants to
No, it's
accomplish
not.
this. They did try this, as you know, if you're a long-term resident. We had a recycling program, but it failed because of the cost. The biggest problem, and the biggest problem is that people are not separating the right trash. Most of the apartment buildings and the rental areas, they'll know that a pizza box can be recycled, but not once a pizza's in it, okay? You can take cardboard, but not that. So they had to set up another whole unit to separate the trash. That's what, the things that could be recycled from the things that can't be recycled. And that was the main problem. That made it way too expensive. And before they had to can that program because of the expense, they not only had the extra cans out, but they put stickers on the cans to try to educate people. So it's a big problem. The only way that I could think to solve it is we have to put a little think tank together, because obviously in some other states and some other cities, they do have a successful recycling program. So we shouldn't invent the wheel, find out what they're doing, and get some kind of plan in place so we can do this.
Netsky, Shelley, followed by District 4 candidates Chapman and Plow. And the question is, we are the League of Women Voters, so we have to ask, do you favor keeping the city election in March or moving it to November? District 3 candidate, Bradley?
I think moving it to November would be better in terms of cost. The voting machines and all the employees that run the elections would only have to come one time, and it would save money. And the city is who pays for the election, so that would be a savings for the city. I would be in favor of November elections, municipal.
Thank you. Candidate Chernetsky?
I'm definitely in favor of leaving it in March, and let me tell you why. Because if we put it in November, we're going to have a presidential candidates, we're going to have Senate candidates, we're going to have state representative candidates, we're going to have judge candidates, and I feel that the city commissioner of Deerfield Beach is a person that really affects the citizens of Deerfield Beach. The roads, the sidewalks, the lights, this really affects the day-by-day citizens of Deerfield Beach, so I think it's important to have it in March.
Thank you. Candidate Shelley?
Thank you. I support moving it to November. In 2021, Commissioner Bernie Parnes raised $25,000 in a race with a voter turnout of 12.7%. 1,600 votes were cast. As of January, his heir apparent has raised over 22,000 with equally low voter turnout predicted. There's something wrong with that picture and we need to move it to November. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Chapman?
The people of Deerfield Beach are smart enough to vote a large ballot. This election is costing you $125,000 that you don't need to spend. Move it to November, quadruple the turnout. You can do it.
I'm in absolute favor at this time, unless it's proved otherwise, to keep it in March. We need our own election. We don't need it to be confused with the federal elections. It has nothing to do with the intelligence of the community here. And also that would be a charter vote. So that cost right there would have to be a vote on the charter. You could spend $30,000 like we did to sell that vacant piece of land last year to put it on the charter. To put it on for a vote. And guess what? It might be voted out. Maybe the folks want to keep it in March. I'm in favor of that.
Thank you so much. Yes, when the Southwest 10th Street Connector project begins,
Bam.
what do you propose the city should do to help residences survive the construction process and mitigate traffic issues overall? Candidate Plow, your response, please.
Okay, first of all, the biggest feedback we're going to get is from the residents. So as a full-time commissioner, my phone is going to be on, and if people have complaints, that's going to give us the ammunition, that's going to give us the feedback that we need to go to talk to FDOT about what's going on. We have to monitor this. There's not a lot we can do about it because it's going to happen. Fortunately, I have a relationship with Vice Mayor Drosky, who's been on this for the last 8 years. He has personal contacts in FDOT. So we've got to stay on top of that by listening to the residents and monitor the situation. I live right up the street there. I'm going to be affected by it, and I'm going to be all over it. That's my plan.
Thank you. Candidate Chapman.
Yeah, FDOT, thank you. If you go to FDOT 10th Street Connector, you can see the graphics. The engineering's done. They're going to break ground this year. They expect it to last until 2031. It's going to be a nightmare. One of the things I would strongly suggest we do is get a good profile on air quality right now so that we can go back to FDOT and tell them how they're screwing up our air with the increased traffic. Another thing we should do is to play toys. Lay it out, large scale in a building this size, and run the toy cars around, use a toy traffic lights, and model what it's going to be so you can see what will happen before it happens, and mitigate the damage and traffic and insanity that is going to be created if you don't do something along those lines.
Thank you. Moving on to District 3, candidate Shelley.
There are 3 phases in the project, and I think one of the things we need to do, again, is communication. It's the first thing I said when I started this evening. We need better communication with our residents. I think the city needs to have a person that's designated to be the point person on that project. It's nice that we have elected officials that know DOT officials, but we need somebody that knows what's going on there to routinely report to the citizens along each step of the way. I heard one candidate talk about a flyover, then I heard an incumbent say, no, there's not going to be a flyover. There's so much confusion even among our own ranks that no wonder the public is clueless, and they have no idea what, or we the public, have no idea what we're in for. So we need to plan for it now, and we need to let everybody know. This is like a hurricane coming, and we need to take the same steps we do when a hurricane approaches. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Shinesky.
Well, this is going to directly affect my community of Century Village, also in my district, Crystal Lake and Meadows at Crystal Lake. And I've gotten feedback from these communities. Number one, what they're saying is, like she had mentioned, make sure there's direct communication. Make sure there's communication on where there are slow ups, any accidents, so that this way they'll know to take any alternative paths. Also to make sure that all the lights are coordinated so that there won't be any slow ups with the lights, breakage of lights. So again, I have been on this for several years, and I have been quizzing FDOT with alternate ways of making sure that the traffic is clear, and they had said the same thing. Make sure there's communication, that the commuters could see what's happening, slow ups and anything like that, and to make sure that, again, the lights are working perfectly so that it's in and out of the traffic.
It's still not
Thank
gonna
you.
work.
Candidate Bradley.
This is a very difficult situation. We'll have to rely on the citizens to tell us what's happening, because it'll be a very complicated thing. I think the dust, the air contamination is going to be a real problem, and there are ways to minimize that. I've seen lime go on the road and things like that. It'll just be a kind of a play-as-you-go situation. We don't know really what's going to happen. The lights aren't going to work. Electricity is probably going to go down. All kinds of things, and it's going to take years to finish this thing. So I don't think I can predict what's going to happen. But we just have to let the citizens, the residents, tell us their problems as they come up and address them promptly. Listen to the people.
That's right.
what I say.
Thank you. Next
See the
100.
horizon, climate change.
District 3, candidate Bradley, your response, please.
Well, I get.
Mike.
Sorry. So, sea level and climate change. I'm not sure I actually believe that those things are actually happening, to tell you the truth.
Yes.
You know,
True.
I just, so the question to me is, the premise of the question is faulty. I don't believe that the sea level is rising. I don't believe the climate is changing. And there's no evidence to prove that it is. So my answer is nothing.
Candidate Shelley, your response, please.
I think one of the wonderful things we have coming on board is the sawgrass to seagrass building, and our relationship, hopefully, that we're going to have with the Museum of Discovery and Science. I think that's going to be a really good location where we can continually educate people about our ocean, about our clean air, about climate change, which I do believe in, and sea rise. I mean, it's happening, and I think having that center here is going to make it a focal point so that we can emphasize that, and hopefully school children from near and far, as well as adults, will take part and learn more. Thank you.
Candidate Shinesky.
Well, in the past 4 years in going to Deerfield Beach Commission meetings, it's been shown that the beach is receding. That's why in the past 4 years we've had beach renourishment projects with our sister cities, because the beach is receding. We're losing the beach. That's why we've been putting barriers and artificial reefs to try to stop the beach from eroding. And again, we've been bringing in more and more sand with our neighbors in Boca Raton and Pompano Beach to make sure that the beach doesn't recede away and we lose Deerfield Beach.
That's
So
everywhere.
I'm in favor of doing everything possible to make sure that that beach is preserved. In terms of our environment, the Broward Sheriff's Office has made sure that there's no smoking on the beach, no littering on the beach, to make sure that the environment of the beach is as pristine as possible. We have to take care of our beach. Deerfield Beach is what makes Deerfield Beach special. And we have to make sure that both the ocean and the beach is taken care of. And as commissioner, it's something I'll definitely fight for.
So what
Thank you. District 4 candidates, starting with Chapman.
I think Bradley's onto something. There are federal government sites where you can look at the tide record from every recorded harbor everywhere in the world.
Thank
You'll
you.
find that, Alaska has been falling at 13 millimeters a year. New York has been growing at 1 millimeter a year. I think we've been growing at 1 millimeter a year. There's another federal site where you can see the satellite record for all of the ice cover in the Antarctic and the Arctic, and you find out that it stays within a normal band. It grows in their summer and it shrinks in their winter, or grows in their winter and shrinks in their summer. I have been watching the temperature in Deerfield Beach through an IBM website, and it stays at 93 degrees. Occasionally you'll see it go up to 94 or 95 degrees, but every day the temperature stays at 93 degrees during our hot season. That's because of the ocean. We live in a blessed water cycle. It keeps us from the temperatures that you get at the same longitude over in Arizona of 110 and 120. So no, I don't think that the panic, the world's coming to an end, it's just they're trying to get your money to do nothing. Don't believe them.
Thank you.
I have to agree with my opponent to a degree because, throughout recorded history, continents go up and they go down. There's places underwater that used to be on the land and vice versa. My concern about running for commission is not climate change and what's going to happen over the next 100 years.
OMG.
It's clean water. It's having a quality of life here in this city. Just in the last couple of years, we've had to replenish the beach. Why? Because of hurricanes, okay? And the Florida Building Code of 1994 made impact windows available and stronger ways to put roofs on. We need to worry about catastrophes that are going to happen in our lifetime, but we do have to look forward to those things. But it's not something that I really believe that actually can be controlled. And if you see some of the coral rocks that are perpendicular to our beach, those things have been there for a long time. When I moved here in the 1980s, you could see those coral rocks there. And as the waves come in and come out, and the screen goes up and it goes down, you're going to have a situation where that coral is going to hold the sand back. And so as long as we don't have a hurricane that hits us like Helene that hurt our pier as well, as long as we, keep up with that, we're going to get the sand in here naturally. Until there's a disaster, we're going to have to do a replenishment, but we need to just do what we can to make sure we have a quality of life here.
Affordable housing needs with commercial development to provide economic growth needed to maintain a budget for providing services to the community. And is the city too pro-development? District 4, candidate Plow, you're responsible.
Affordable housing is a big problem in this city, not only for the places that we're looking to try to put something there. About a year and a half ago, the last piece of vacant land that Deerfield Beach owned was sold to make way for affordable housing. That's just east of I-95 and 10th Street. I was involved in that project as your chairman, and I did walk the streets because when we sold that land for that affordable housing project, it had to go on the ballot. And it was voted on, and we were worried that people didn't want to sell that land, but that got done. And inflation, mortgage rates going up, our home values. If you have a home, you're happy that your home value went up, but it makes it a lot harder for other people. So we need affordable housing. that's a problem. We need to work on that. They also, a lot of people call it workforce housing, because the reality is that most of the workers here have to come from somewhere else. It'd be great if they could live here and they could work here. It is a problem. I've
the city
spent
manager.
some time over at the Housing Authority
somewhere. You should
recently,
live
talking
here
to some
and work
folks
here,
over
so
there.
you benefit.
They support my campaign, and I'd like to be able to help those folks to do something.
Thank you. Candidate Chapman?
Affordable housing and development are two very hard knots to tie or untie. I have no answers. It's going to require a lot of people spending a lot of time modeling what can be and what may happen. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you. We're moving on to District 3 candidate Shinetsky.
Well, Deerfield Beach is growing. We have about 87,000 people in the last census. By the next census, we'll probably have over 100,000 people. It's growing. We need to put people somewhere, nice housing, so I'm definitely for affordable housing, and we need to bring in businesses so that they could service these new people that are coming into our city. That's why I was strongly in favor of the Southwest 11th research project that will bring business into Southwest 11th Way. I'm strongly in favor of that. I supported that during the city commission meetings. I think we can balance between affordable housing and commercial growth so that in this next 100 years of Deerfield Beach, our community and our city will be vibrant, and I'll definitely push for that.
Thank you. Candidate Brown?
The second part, the end,
Is the city too pro-development?
pro-development.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, I think there should be a balance between affordable housing and nice housing, but I think that one of our bigger problems is we have a lot of vacant commercial buildings in our city, sitting empty. Those buildings could be filled with businesses and make money for the city, and it would balance out the finances much better. And I don't know if we need more affordable housing. There's plans that have affordable housing to live or something like that. I'm not too familiar with it, but I'm in favor of promoting commercial development within the city. We've got a lot of empty buildings, and once we get those full, we'll have a different outlook on our situation with real estate.
Thank you. Candidate Shelley?
Thank you. First of all, I think what we need to do is disarm the fear surrounding the Live Local Act. It's very misunderstood. I think the average person, when they hear Live Local and affordable housing, is they expect homeless people to be coming in from the street with their bags to move into this housing. You're talking about affordable housing in
It's a
Broward
ghost
County,
over there.
which is
It's a
close to
ghost over there.
$100,000 a year.
Yeah.
We're talking about housing that our children are going to be able to live here because we have affordable housing. So we need to wrap our heads around that, and we need to do a better job of educating the people about it. We cannot stand down every time a developer threatens us with Live Local. We need to call their bluff on that. And I'm not anti-development at all. I'm not anti-development, but I am opposed to the tail wagging the dog relationship that our city commission has with certain lobbyists in this city. And I think that increases the public's distrust and lack of confidence that we can have affordable housing in our town. Another thing, and I don't see my timer yet, good, is workforce housing. When you have public property, school board lands that has excess land where we could build housing that could go for teachers, educators, people involved in the system. We have a lot of options. We have a lot of options, but we are so blinded by the misinformation that some developers provide that we don't even consider them. Thank you.
I intend to win my race. I intend to be a full-time commissioner. I've been here for 40 years. I've got the financial experience. I've got the experience working with the city. I understand the departments. It's a very unique position to be the chairman of your planning and zoning board. I know how all the departments work with the city manager and the city attorney. It's a wonderful thing that Deerfield Beach has that planning and zoning board, because it's the citizens, we're not paid, okay? It's the citizens that have the final say before something goes to the commission. So I'm very excited to be a part of that, And I intend to be, like I said, full-time. My wife and I have been married over 40 years. We're a team. She's on the education board. We're both going to be full-time for you.
Thank you. Candidate Chapman, please.
I look forward to jumping into the mire that I see in the city and try to straighten it out. Try to understand why we're not able to do things under budget. I have a background in organizing one large international company, 7 divisions, 3 countries, 3 languages, and I got it done and I maintained it for 20 years and it's still working. I think I've got a lot in terms of organizational skills that the city will benefit from, and I'm looking for an opportunity to exercise those. Thank you very much.
Thank you. District 3 candidate Shelley.
The anticipated coronation of Daniel Shinetsky by longtime incumbent Commissioner Bernie Parnes is exactly why I'm running for this seat. He's not a bad guy, but Daniel has resided in Century Village continuously since his early 40s. He has never purchased a home, he has never had a family, he has never been in business, he has been a legal secretary and more recently a paralegal certification. He brings no real-world life skills or experience to the table, no examples of leadership, only the parroted words and strong-arm tactics of his advisor and campaign consultant, the incumbent Bernie Parnes. On multiple occasions, Parnes has publicly praised my opponent, sharing how he has been grooming him for years so that there would be a smooth, seamless transition. That transition seems to be working because the majority of the money raised by Parnes and now this year by Shinetsky comes from developers and their lobbyists. Again, I am not anti-development, but I am opposed to the tail-wagging-the-dog relationship that our city commission has with certain lobbyists. District 3 needs a well-rounded city commissioner who will represent and is representative of the public that she serves. Thank you. BetterWithKaren.com.
Thank you. Candidate Shinetsky.
Again, my motto, and I don't just talk the talk. It's very easy to talk the talk. I walk the walk. My motto is Daniel gets it done. I feel it's very, very important to foster relationships and not throw rocks and criticize. It's very easy to destroy, but I'm very proud that I foster relationships. And in District 3, I've met with the community leaders and the constituents of major communities in District 3, Crystal Lake. I'm fighting with Crystal Lake to save the lake from developers.
Hold on, this is what we're
I've
dealing
met
with.
Meadows,
This thing is
Crystal
going
Lake,
up and down, up and down.
leaders, and I'm working with them to stop traffic problems right outside the community in Military Road. And I've been working with Century Village master management leaders to make sure that the insurance and property rates are well established and they don't overwhelm the residents of Century Village. So again, Daniel gets it done. Thank you.
Candidate Bradley.
All right. The city needs not just new leaders, but leaders with a new mindset. We need leaders with common sense and logical thinking. My engineering and manufacturing background give me those qualities. We need leaders with expertise in building and construction in order to make educated decisions on expensive projects. My contractor's background educates me in that field. And as I said before, the most important, I think, is we need leaders who understand the people, who understand and stand by those who are vulnerable. My 20 years in working with special populations taught me this lesson very well.
Thank you. Thank you.